If you follow me on socials, so like X or anything like that, you'll know that when this camera first got announced, I was very much intrigued, and I'm talking about the Fuji X-M5. Now, I am normally a Nikon shooter. Everything I've shot before has always been on Nikon, whether it's my Z30, my Z6, or more recently my Z6 III. I have been primarily a Nikon focused shooter, and I have just been fantasizing over Fuji for the longest time. I see people who use it for street photography, people who use it for now streaming and video work, and ever since they announced the X-M5, I have just been deliberating back and forth if I wanted to buy it or not buy it, buy it, not buy it. And so it finally got to the point where I saw it in stock and I had it in my cart ready to buy, and then I hesitated and it was gone. And since then, I've been kicking myself. So about 3 months ago, I finally used the money that I made on YouTube and purchased the Fuji X-M5, and I've been using it since as my primary camera for both client work, street photography, and just all around an everyday carry. And I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed. And as, like I said, a primary Nikon shooter, I got me questioning whether or not, do I want to switch brands? Well, maybe not necessarily, but it doesn't mean I can't include the Fuji in my everyday shooting, let alone consider even getting more Fujifilm down the line. So let's talk about the Fuji X-M5 and why I think this camera is a special entry-level camera that, honestly, it swings way above its pay grade. I'm Joe, this is Matsu Excel. Let's talk cameras. So like, I kind of went full send when it came to the Fuji X-M5. Like, I have a new case. I got the Polar Pro, Roadrunner, little 1 liter bag. I even got this Peak Design little sling as well. And I have a couple different lenses. So like I said, this is not sponsored by Fuji. This is just me, honest thoughts. So this is the Viltrox 27mm lens. I even went and used and bought this Fuji XF 10-24 beast. Like, check this out. I got the Viltrox pancake lens. So we have a lot of video reviews to come through. And the one I'm rocking right now is my first ever TT Artisan. This is the TT Artisan 20, this is the 27 2.8. And honestly, this thing is super compact. Like, the strap is bigger than the damn camera. But like, this is a toy compared to what I'm normally used to. Like, here, give me a second. So this is my Nikon Z6 III. And you're probably wondering, like, if I'm used to this camera, and I'm used to this camera, why the hell would I consider something like this? It's a little bit thicker than my Z30, but like, I don't get this whole big side grip. And yes, I have massive hands, right? But like, it's tiny in the hands. And it fits in a pocket. Like, if I put that pancake lens on this, it's phenomenal. So why would you want to buy something like this Fuji camera, right? A couple things. One, it's under $1,000. So if you're getting to your first budget camera and you're looking for something that could do video, you could do streaming, you could do photography, this for $850 for the combo with the kit lens is not bad at all. A sub $1,000 camera. And that kit lens is no joke, to be quite honest. I actually have it. I'll show you later on. But you get 3 different options, 3 different variables in a small little camera that can honestly fit in like a sweater pocket. Let's talk about what this is. This is a 26.1 megapixel sensor, APS-C. It has Fuji's X-Trans processor and the X-Trans chip as well. So you're getting the newest tech from their lineup in a small camera. Again, under $1,000. You get 6.2K open gate video at 30 frames per second. And that is the reason number 1 why I purchased this. So I got my Nikon Z6 III because I could shoot and RAW. I could shoot log and I could shoot at 6K. And it's great for all my professional work. The Z6 III, hands down, is a beast in itself, and it compares to something like a FX30 or even an FX3 here and there. But To be able to say I have a $3,000 kit camera and I can compare it to something under $1,000 at both shooting 6K. The only difference is this is open gate. That does not. And open gate is the hottest trend of 2025. Don't cancel me. So again, you get a monstrous potential video camera in this small compact size. Also, you do get single SD card slot reader. You get the full gamut of Fuji F-Log and F-Log 2. So you can shoot in RAW and you can shoot in F-Log for that, which is perfect. And it's a really good color profile. It's not Nikon, and that's me, again, biased, but I've always loved Nikon's colors. Being someone who is partially colorblind, I could trust Nikon a lot more, at least since I've went from Canon. In Fuji, honestly, it's a really good color science. And I think the F-Log is just takes it to that next level. But I will say, when you buy a Fuji camera, you're not buying it technically for your 6K video footage. You're not buying it for the open gate. You're not buying because you could do F-Log. You're buying it for film sims. So before we continue, what is film simulation? If you've never used a Fuji camera before, or you go back to old school photography, film photography, if you will, you could buy different types of film and it had essentially different effects or just different impressions, as I'll call it. You just had different looks, right? So like you could buy some Kodak film and you could buy like different like types of Kodak film, and it just had a different vibe, a different feel, a different look of that image. It's almost as if today you're putting filters through Visco or through Instagram on your photos, right? Imagine it like that. Editor Joe here. I just cut out like 5 minutes of explanations because you don't need it. Go watch another video. There's a bunch on YouTube. So that's like a huge bonus for people why they buy Fuji. So like, why did I buy Fuji? Honestly, I like the idea of the retro look. Now, the X-M5 isn't necessarily the best of the best when it comes to that old school type of shooting. Like, if you look back, I bought the iron. I didn't buy it. I rented the Nikon ZF, and that camera was a dream. Honestly, I probably would buy that still if I can. It hasn't been on sale, and then every time it goes on used for like really cheap, it's sold out. And now with inflation and all that stuff coming up, new tariffs, who knows if we'll be able to afford a ZF. Unless Nikon, you want to call me. The next best thing is with Fuji. Now, again, I go saying that the X-M5 doesn't have that necessarily raw control that you would get on other lineups like the XS20 or the X106. It doesn't have that same raw kind of control, but it still doesn't mean it's not a fun camera. And it aesthetically looks really sexy, really cute, really fun. I don't know if those are all the same terms, but yeah, we'll go with it. Build wise, it is plastic. You can't get away with that. It's somewhere where they had to cheap out on the camera. It doesn't mean it's not a great build. It feels good in the hands, but again, it's plastic. So, you know, buy a warranty if you can. Here's the technical specifications. Let's throw some B-roll in it. You get officially X mount adapters. You can run X mount glass, X-Trans CMOS for APS-C sensor with 26.1 megapixels. You do get ultrasonic sensor cleaning built in, which is really nice. You get the X5, the X Processor 5, which is their newest imaging processor engine. You can shoot in either JPEG, HE files, RAW, up to 14-bit RAW for footage. You could do TIFF conversions, which is cool, I guess. It's a mirrorless camera, but you also do get electronic shutter, and you can control when you want to engage that, if you want to use your full shutter or the electronic shutter or a mix of both, like that front curtain, so that's really cool. So you can shoot 6.2K open gate up to 200 megabytes per second for your bit rate. You could also go down to 4K 60. Don't expect anything higher than 60. Oh, sorry, take that back. In just regular HD, 1080p, you can shoot up to 240 frames per second if you want to. It's an option for your high-speed recording, but again, you're capped at 1080p. So who is this for? If you are a new content creator or you're trying to get into your first camera, you're really trying to decide, do I want to go Canon? Do I want to go Nikon? Do I want to go Sony? Do I want to go Fuji? Do I want to go Lumix? There is a lot of competition out there now, and they're all amazing in what they do now. Like, we've gotten to the point with tech that it's like you can't go wrong with whatever you pick, right? But I'd say if you want to go into the Fuji world and you want to step into it, the XM5 is good for two types of creators. One, actually three types of people. One, if you're a brand new creator or you're getting into content creation and your primary focus is video work, streaming, and then maybe photography on the side, the XM5 I think is a perfect blend of it all. It just does everything well. Video work, I think it's great. I think for someone who's doing either any kind of short form content or even long form content with the open gate, if you don't know what open gate is and you hear it all the time, just imagine. Typically you watch TV or you watch movies, it's at what's called a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now imagine if we add a little bit more to the top and a little bit more to the bottom. It allows you to see everything going on. And why it's important for someone who's like doing video work, you can actually get that full use of your sensor and you can like crop it into that 16:9 ratio. And you can actually, you have more leverage to move your video footage around or zoom in on different areas and still retain that full aspect ratio. Okay, so back to who is it for? Beginning content creator, like I said, it's a perfect balance between all the worlds. You're able to use it for streaming. I've actually used it for a couple different streams. And honestly, like, at 1080p, it doesn't overheat. I will say for anything 6K and 4K, you do kind of start pushing the lines of when that camera is going to overheat. And you could change it to a higher setting, like to withstand a lot more heat. However, it gets hot. So I would recommend some kind of fan or some kind of cooling device. Now, Fuji does sell a cooling fan and it starts like $200. But if you watch the video in the corner up here, after this one, of course, I'll show you an option that you actually could get for $50 and it's going to do just the same, if not a better job at keeping your camera cool. So there's that. We got beginners. Now, I'm also going to go, my next term is people who are getting into long form or short form video work and want higher quality footage. Now, yes, you could buy cameras like the Go 3S or the DJI Pocket 3, but the thing is, like, those are strictly just vlogging type of cameras. Like, you can do so much video. Whereas this, you can get video, but then you have more uses and you also have a lower entry into interchangeable lenses. And you can buy high quality glass or high quality lenses much cheaper these days than I used to back in the day. There's just more versatility. And if I was going to go with, $800 for a DJI Pocket or $850 for a camera, I'm going to camera. Now, third, I said there's a third option, and this is the everyday person. You just want a camera to carry with you wherever you go, whether you're traveling, you're vacationing, or you just want to have a camera in your pocket. You're a parent, you want to be able to take photos of your kids. This is the camera for you. It's one of the options. Like, you could get a Z30 just the same, right? But for me, I love it because you know why? The killer difference than like this is the film sim. And that really is kind of, look, I love taking photos. I love editing. I love spending time going to Lightroom, but let's be real. The honest truth is we take a bunch of photos. We never transfer it off the cards or we transfer it to a hard drive. We never go back. We never edit them. And they sit there, and only when your wife or your husband asks, hey, what happened to that photo? You got to dig it. You got to find it. You got to edit. Then you can post it. It's a whole chore that you don't want to do. We've all been there. With Fuji and their film recipes and their film simulations, I can bake both the RAW file and the JPEG in here, and I can easily transfer it from my phone to a text, to social, and it's done. And it lives very quickly in here. I don't need to take it to Lightroom. I don't need to edit it. If I wanted to, I could, but I don't have to because I just pop on one of the custom settings that has a preloaded film recipe, and I go. It's the best of both worlds. I can't complain. My wife can't complain. It actually works. And I back up to my hard drive later, but I don't have to worry about it because I got it off my camera like in 10 minutes or less, and I didn't have to edit. So yeah, I think it's perfect for the everyday person. Final thoughts. All right. So we covered what it is, who it's for. Let's talk about final thoughts. Again, I've had this for 3 months now, and it's by far like my everyday shooter. I try to carry it wherever I go. I gotta be honest with you, I don't get out of the house as much as I want to, just because content creation is not my full-time job. I have a business I gotta work at. And until it is, I'm gonna be stuck at home working. But when I do go out, or we do go on trips and things like that, it's easy to be able to put it in my pocket, carry it, and use it whenever I want to. And that's the joy of having a camera like the X-M5. So would I buy it again? Yes. Am I gonna buy more Fuji? I'm considering it. Am I ditching my Nikon though? No. Because honestly, at the end of the day, you as a content creator or as any kind of creator, right? I recommend having at least 2 cameras. One, your workhorse, and that's what the Z6 III is. This is my workhorse. This earns me my bread and butter. When I go and do professional client work or my own personal videos for YouTube and my channel, what I've learned in content creation is, and just running a business and running photography and stuff like that, I usually have 2 cameras. And I recommend anybody who's in content creation and is doing stuff like this, have 2 cameras. You have the workhorse. That's what the Z6 III is. This is my workhorse. This is my bread and butter. This is what I take to client jobs, to gigs, for my YouTube content creation, my professional vids. The Z6 III, that's the beast that I use. But for my everyday, like nonchalant, just family outings and adventures, I want an everyday camera. And that's where the Fuji is, because I can record video just as good as my video for my Nikon, right? For my workhorse. I could take photos, I could download things very quickly, very easily, and it's small, compact, put it in my pocket and I could go. And that's why I personally have both. Now, again, okay, so before I do my peace out outro, if you got this far, leave a comment below with an icon of a camera that looks like the Fuji. Tell me what you're most interested about this camera, or what brought you here to this video, and I'll shout you on the next video. And just so you know, the next video, here's our sneak peek. The next video is actually going to be more detailed. I'm actually going to show you behind the scenes of street photography and just a regular, just every day with this camera. So we got that coming up. Be sure, if it's not already loaded, get ready to load, subscribe to the channel. You'll be there. I also have a comparison. I'm going to do a full comparison. And it's going to be the Nikon Z6 versus the Z6 III versus the Fuji X-M5. The $3,000 kit versus a $1,000 kit in a raw to raw, analog to F-log shootout of who is the best for video, depending on your budget, of course. So I got that video going to be coming out as well. Again, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, now I got more stuff to record, so I'm going to shut up.